Good morning, children. Today we are going to discuss the continuation of two chapters. The first one is a life process. See, the life process introduction. Life. Earth happens to be the only known planet having a life. There are beings who live, die, and became part of nature again. The living organism can be differentiated from the inanimate entities on various parameters of life process. Life process. Maintenance of living organism is essential even if they are moving, resting, or even sleeping. The process which to perform the function of maintenance of life are called as life process. Nutrition, respiration, circulation, excretion are example of essential life process. In unicellular organism, all the processes are carried out by the single cell. In multicellular organism, well-developed systems are present to carry out the process. Another one chapter, how do organisms reproduce? Why do organisms reproduce? For the continuation of the species. How do organisms reproduce? Sexual reproduction. Two organisms produce a new unique organism. Asexual reproduction. One organism produces new nearly identical organism is equal to no variability. Life process. All the process such as respiration, nutrition, circulation, excretion, etc. that are necessary for the survival of the living organisms are known as life process. Nutrition in human beings. Humans consist of alimentary channel which starts from mouth and ends at anus. The parts of the alimentary channel are as follows: mouth, pharynx, esophagus or food pipe, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, rectum, anus. See the human digestive system. The food pipe for esophagus, stomach, liver, large intestine, small intestine, rectum, and anus. Mouth is the first portion of the alimentary channel. Mouth consists of muscular tongue and teeth. Cavity inside the mouth is known as oral cavity. See the human mouth part: gums, hard plate, alveoli, teeth, soft plate, tonsil, tongue, lip. Mechanism of digestion of food. Food digestion process being in the mouth. Food is complex in nature. To break down food and absorb it, we need biological catalyst known as enzymes. Mouth contains salivary glands and secretes saliva. Saliva contains an important enzyme known as salivary enzyme that break down starch into simple sugars. The food then passes via esophagus into the stomach. The movement of food inside the esophagus occur via rhythmic contraction of muscles. This is known as peristalsis. Stomach contains gastric glands that secrete mucus, hydrochloric acid, and pepsin. Pepsin is a protein digesting enzyme. After stomach, food then enter into small intestine. Small intestine is larger in herbivores due to cellulose digestion compared to carnivores. Complete digestion of carbohydrates, proteins, and fat occurs in small intestine. Small intestine receive secretion from pancreas and bile from the liver. Bile helps in emulsification of fats, whereas pancreas secrete enzymes such as trypsin for protein digestion. Intestinal wall also contains glands that secrete intestinal juice. Small intestine has villi that increase the surface area for the absorption of food. The unabsorbed food is then transferred to large intestine where water is absorbed. Undigested food is then expelled out from the anus. Respiration in human being. Human respiratory system consists of nostrils, nasal cavity, pharynx, trachea, bronchioles, and then lungs. In lungs, alveoli are present where exchange between the oxygen and carbon dioxide take place. See, the passage of air in human being. Oxygen reach air from environment through the nasal cavities, through pharynx, through trachea, through through bronchioles, alveoli, through oxygen and carbon dioxide exchange at alveoli, bronchioles, trachea, pharynx, nasal cavities, carbon dioxide rich air to the environment. Humans have a respiratory pigment known as hemoglobin to carry the oxygen to different parts of the body and to remove carbon dioxide from the body. Compared to oxygen, carbon dioxide is more soluble in water, so it is usually transported in dissolved form. Transportation in human beings. Blood is a fluid connective tissue that transports food, oxygen, carbon dioxide, nitrogenous waste, etc. Blood contains plasma
and blood cells. Red blood cells carry oxygen throughout the body. Heart is the pumping organ in the body. Human heart is four-chambered with two atrium and two ventricles. Left atrium receives the oxygen-rich blood from the lungs, while receiving blood is relaxed. Left ventricle pumps oxygen-rich blood throughout the body. Deoxygenated blood comes from the body to the upper right atrium. It contracts to pump the blood to right ventricle. Right ventricle pumps the blood to the lungs for oxygenation. See the structure of human heart. The superior vena cava, aorta, pulmonary artery, pulmonary veins, left atrium, right atrium, pulmonary valve, aortic valve, Bishop's valve, left ventricle, right ventricle, transcusp's valve, inferior vena cava. Fish have two-chambered heart. Amphibian and reptiles have three-chambered heart, except crocodile, which possess four-chambered heart. Birds and mammals have four-chambered heart. Blood circulation. The right side and left side of the heart are separated to prevent the mixing of oxygenated and deoxygenated blood. In vertebrates, blood goes through the heart twice during each cycle. This is defined as double circulation. See the double circulation. The lungs, low oxygen, high carbon dioxide. The pulmonary circuit, it go to high oxygen, low CO2. Systemic circuit in our body, and once again return back to lungs. The force that the blood exerts against the wall of the vessel is known as blood pressure. Pressure of blood inside the artery during ventricular contraction is known as systolic pressure, whereas the pressure in the artery during ventricular relaxation is known as diastolic pressure. The normal blood pressure is 120 for 80 of mm of H. Artery, capillary, vein. Artery that carry blood away from the heart. Capillary, one cell thick, smallest vessels. Vein that carry blood toward the heart. They carry oxygenated blood except the pulmonary artery. Helps in the exchanging of the material between the blood and surrounding cells. They carry deoxygenated blood except pulmonary vein. They have thick wall and do not have valve. They They do not have walls. They have thin wall and also possess valves. Platelets are blood cells that helps in blood clotting. A lymph, also known as interstitial fluid, is a fluid that leak out of the pores of the capillaries. Excretion. The process involves the removal of nitrogenous waste from the body is known as excretion. Excretory system of humans consists of a pair of kidney, a pair of uterus, urinary bladder, and urethra. The basic filtration unit of the kidney is known as nephrons. Nephrons are the structural and functional unit of kidneys. They consist of Bowman's capsule and renal tubes. For the formation of urine, some substance such as glucose, amino acid are selectively reabsorbed. Amount of water reabsorbed depend on how much water is there in the body. Urinary bladder is a muscular structure and it is under nerves control. See the human excretory system: vena cava, aorta, renal artery and urethra, kidney, bladder and urethra. How do organisms reproduce? Reproduce through the process by which living organisms produce more living organisms of its own kind, especially in the human reproduction. Mode of reproduction. There are two main types of reproduction in living organisms. Asexual reproduction, the process of reproduction in which new individuals are produced from a single parent. Example, microorganism. Asexual reproduction is found in the single-celled organisms such as archaebacteria, eubacteria, etc. Many plants and fungi reproduce asexually as well as sexual reproduction. In animals, males and females have different reproductive parts or organ. Their reproductive parts in animals produce gametes that fuse to form a zygote. It is the zygote which develops into a new individual. This type of reproduction, beginning from the fusion of male and female gamete, is called sexual reproduction. How to define a reproductive system? The human reproductive system is defined as a collection of internal and external organs in humans, including both male and female, that work after puberty for the purpose of producing a new individual. How do humans reproduce? The fertilization process in humans take place internally. Humans are viviparous. The pre-fertilization process in humans involve gametogenesis and insemination. The formation of gametes. The sperm and the ovum produce two parents. By meiosis is now as gametogenesis, that's called as a gamete production, and the transfer of male gametes or sperm into the female genital tract is now as insemination. Fertilization is the process of union of male and female gametes with a female fallopian tube, which result in the formation of a zygote. After fertilization, the process of implantation takes place. Implantation means formation of a blastocyst and is attachment the wall of uterus, also known as womb. The development of embryo, gestation, take place inside the uterus. After gestation period, the offspring is delivered. The process of delivery of an offspring is known as PART-2. The offspring produced by sexual reproduction contain genes from both the parents. In short, we can say humans are sexually reproducing and the male and female sex are separate. There is requirement of both male and female for reproduction in human. Male gametes are produced within testes of male, while female gametes are produced in ovaries of female. Male gametes are motile, while female gametes are not. Male semen are ejaculated into vagina of female where sperms, male gametes, travel a long distance and reaches up to the female gamete. Fertilization takes place at fallopian tubes. A sequence of forced fertilization changes leads to birth of infant after 7 months to 9 months. What is the importance of reproductive system? Reproduction is an essential function of all living organisms, although unlike other body system, it is not essential to keeping an individual alive, but it has an important role in ensuring the survival of the species. It means that all living organisms must reproduce so that their species does not become extinct in future. The reproductive system is a collection of internal and external organs in both male and females that work for the purpose of procreating, producing offspring. Reproduction is a vital function of all living beings and has an important role in the survival of the species. What is the definition of a reproductive organ? A reproductive organ is defined as any internal and external organ involved in the process of reproduction. What is primary reproductive organ? Primary reproductive organs are the organs that produce gametes. They are also called gonads. The gonad form a part of the endocrine system and are the primary reproductive organs of both sexes. They contain germ cells that undergo meiosis division and generate gametes. What are the examples of human reproductive organs? Female reproductive organs, male reproductive organ, and function. The female reproductive organs, Cowper glands, male reproductive organ, Bartholin's glands, function lubricant secretion, ovary, testis, production of gametes, Skene's gland, prostate gland, ejaculatory fluid and sensation, clitoris, penis, sensation and penetration. Explain the human male reproductive system. The human male reproductive system is present in pelvis region. It includes a pair of testes, axillary ducts, glands, and the external genitalia. Testes are present within a pouch called scrotum, hang to the lower of abdominal cavity. Testes are oval shaped. Length of testes in human adult is about 4 to 5 centimeter long with width 2 to 3 centimeter. Testis is made up of about 250 component cell called testicular lobules. Each testicular lobule contains 1 to 3 seminiferal tubules which are highly colloid under site of sperm production. The inside lining of seminiferal tubes is made up of male germ cells, that's called spermatogonia, and serotile cells. Formation of sperm take place by meiotic division of male germ cells. Function of serotile cells is to provide nutrient to the germ cells. Interstitial space is the space present outside seminiferal tubules. This contains small blood vessels and also interstitial cells. Interstitial cells are also called Leydig cells. Androgens are the testicular hormones secreted by the Leydig cells. Human male sex axillary ducts include rete testis, vas, ephrenia, epididymis, and vas deferens. See the male reproductive system. See pubic bone, duct deferens, penis, spongy urethra, and seminal vesicles, bladder, prostate gland, epididymis, testis, scrotum. See the cross section of male reproductive system. The urinary bladder, urethra, seminal vesicles, ejaculatory ducts, penis, urethra, glands, penis, testis, epididymis, ducts of differs. And what is the scrotum situated outside body? Scrotum is situated outside the body so that its temperature remains 2 to 3 degree lower than the normal body temperature. This temperature is necessary to be maintained for genesis of sperm. What is penis? Penis is the male external genital, that is external component of male reproductive system. Penis is made up of special type of tissue which help in erection of penis, which facilitates insemination. The enlarged end of penis is called a glans penis. A glans penis is covered by a loose fold of skin called foreskin. See, the male reproductive organ is divided into three parts: root, body or shaft, neck. The bulb of penis, crura of penis, dorsal blood vessel and nerves, corpus cavernosa, central deep artery, urethra, corpus spogosum, scrotum, corpus cavernosus, pineal urethra, and prefused foreskin gland, external urethra meets. What are the male and female gametes in the human? Human have two particular type of gametes. The male sperm, which is capable of movements, that's called motile, and the female ovum, which do not move, no motile or non-motile. See the human egg, human sperm. The egg called ovum, the sperm called as a spermatozoa. See, the nucleus is present there, cytoplasm is present there, coronary radiata, follicular cells, and cortical granules, zona pellucida, jelly coat is present. The human sperm cell having three major parts: head, middle piece, and tail. Head is containing for acrosome. Acrosome produced for in Golgi bodies. A nucleus, centriole, and mitochondria present for the middle piece. The tail containing for axonome. Mature human ova are arrested in metaphase 2 until fertilization and hence do not actually possess a condensed nucleus. However, nuclei is typically included in biological drawing of egg cells to represent the presence of haploid DNA material. Explain the female reproductive system. The human female reproductive system is located by pelvic region. It includes a pair of ovaries, oviducts, urethra, cervix, vagina, and external genitalia. The primary female sex organ are ovaries. The ovaries are located on each side of the lower abdomen. Ovaries produce ovum and secrete hormones like estrogen and progesterone. Each ovary is about 2 to 4 cm in length and is supported by ligaments is order connected to the pelvic wall and uterus. Each ovary is covered by a thin epithelium which encloses the ovarian stroma. The stroma is divided into two parts, cortex and medulla. The cortex is present toward the periphery and the medulla is present on the inner side. female axillary ducts consist of oviducts, also known as fallopian tube, urethra and vagina. Each fallopian tube extends from the periphery of each ovary and is about 10 to 12 centimeter in length. Infundibulum, the funnel-shaped part closer to the ovary. The edges of infundibulum have finger-like projection called fimbriae. During ovulation, ovary release ovum into the fallopian tube. The function of fimbriae is to help in the collection of the ovum after ovulation. Ampulla is a wide part of oviduct. After the infundibulum, the last part of the oviducts in the isthmus, it is a narrow lumen and join the uterus or womb. Uterus is the portion where the fetus grows. The shape of the uterus is like a line-verted pear. The open into cervical canal, which along with the vagina from the birth channel. The wall of uterus has 3 layers of tissues, namely premetrium, myometrium, and endometrium. Premetrium is the membranous covering of the uterus wall. Myometrium is the middle layer and made up of smooth muscles, and endometrium is the inner lining of the uterine walls. The female external genital include the mons pubis, labia majora, labia minora, hymen, and clitoris. See, the ovary produce a ripe egg with each menstruation cycle. Fimbriae, finger-like flap that embryo ovary, the oscillate to guide the ovulated egg to the fallopian tube. Fallopian tube, also called the oviduct or egg tube, carries ripe eggs from the ovary to uterus. Uterus, also called the ovum, protects and nourishes the development of baby before birth. Bladder pushes urethra up slightly as they fill with urine. Pubic symphysis, cartilage forming the junction of the 2 pubic bones. See, the clitoris, urethra carries the urine from the bladder to outside open in front of part of the vulva. Pelvic floor muscles hold and support the organ above. Cervix narrow, protruding collar-like neck of the uterus. Vagina, receptacle for the sperm, exit for menstrual blood, and passageway for the baby. Rectum, last scene of large intestine. What are the largest and smallest cell in humans? Both the largest and smallest cell in the human body fall into the category of gametes. In humans, male gametes are sperm cells and female gametes are egg cell or ova. The human ovum is roughly 1 mm across and is the largest human cell. The male equivalent of the female gamete, commonly known as the sperm cell or spermatozoa, is only 60 micron in length. It is not visible to the naked eye and seen in the smallest human cells. See, what are gonads? The organ that produce gametes are called gonad. The gonads form a part of the endocrine system and are the primary reproductive organs of both sex. They contain germ cells that undergo give rise generate gametes. What are the male and female gonad in humans? In human, the male gonad are the testicles and female gonad are ovaries. See, the testes, uh, efferent ducts, epididymis, seminiferal tubes, vas differs, the ovary, fallopian tube, egg, follicle, ovary. How are gametes produced in human? Gametogenesis is the name given to the process of gamete production. In human, the process of formation of male and female gametes is now as spermatogenesis and oogenesis respectively. The organs that produce gametes are called gonads or primary sex organs. Example, testes is the males and ovaries in the females. In testes, the germ cells being to divide at pituitary due to increasing the release of gonadotropin releasing hormone and form the sperm. This process also called spermatogenesis. In the inside wall or seminiferal tubes, the diploid spermatogonia or primary spermatocytes multiply, increasing the number of mitotic division. How are sperms produced? Spermatogenesis start at pituitary. Sperms are produced in testes by immature germ cells, known as spermatogonia. The spermatogonia are present on the inside wall of seminiferal tubules. Spermatogonia multiply by mitotic division. Each spermatogonium is diploid and contains 46 chromosomes. Some of the spermatogonia undergo meiosis periodically and are called primary spermatocytes. Primary spermatocytes undergo meiotic division to form two equal haploid secondary spermatocytes. Secondary spermatocytes have only 23 chromosomes. The secondary spermatocytes undergo second meiotic division and form four equal haploid cells, known as spermatids. Spermatids are covered to spermatozoa, which are also called sperms. What is menstruation cycle? Menstruation, sometimes called period, happens when the lining of the womb shed or red blood-like material flow out the woman's vagina. Menstruation usually occur once in a month, approximately 28 days in women's. Menstruation signal that a woman is releasing egg that can be fertilized. The lining of the womb grows to prepare for supporting the growth of a baby. If the egg is not fertilized in that month, the womb will be shed its lining and beginning growing anew. The uterine menstruation cycle is a series of cycle changes that the uterine endometrium goes through the each month is response to changing levels of ovarian hormones in the blood. The menstruation phase takes place on days 1 to 5 typically and is the time when the endometrium is shed from the uterus, that is the old functional layer is sloughed off. The proliferation phase, days 6 to 14, is the time in which the endometrium is rebuilt, once again become velvety thick and well vascularized. New functional layer is formed in the uterus. The secretory phase, days 15 to 28, is the phase in which the endometrium prepares for implantation of an embryo. See the start of the cycle, day 7, ripening of follicles, ovulation, ripening of the corpus luteum, ovulation and menstruation. See the enzyme progesterone and estrogen, luteinizing hormones, follicle stimulating hormones, all occur in the 14 to 21 days. Why menstrual cycle is required? It is required to wash out the ruptured follicles. Menstrual cycle has role in the pregnancy. Pregnancy occur when conception occurred during the fertile phase of the woman. After menses, 5 to 7 days are called safe period. This is the phase when the conception is least like to occur. See the structure of human sperm. The head, body and tail is 3 parts as divided. The outer covering layer, that's called as a plasma membrane. Formation of head, the acrosome is formed, nucleus chromosome material is there, the neck, the middle piece, mitochondria energy source for swimming, the tail. Structure of the human sperm. Sperm has a microscopic structure which has a head, neck and middle piece and a tail. A plasma membrane covers the whole body of sperm. The sperm head has an elongated nucleus which is haploid. The anterior portion of nucleus is covered by a cap-like structure that's called acrosome. The acrosome of sperm is filled with the enzymes. This enzyme helps in fertilization of the ovum. The middle piece of the sperm possesses numerous mitochondria which produce energy for the movement of tail that facilitates sperm motility essential for fertilization. What is fertilization? Fertilization is the process of fusion of sperm with an ovum. For fertilization, a sperm may contact with the zona pellucida layer of the ovum and induce changes in the membrane that block the entry of additional sperm. A diploid zygote is formed by mitotic division after fertilization. Zygote move through the isthmus and the mitotic division called cleavage start with the movement of zygote towards uterus lead to the formation of blastomeres, 8 to 16 cell stage. See the fertilization, the ovulation, ovary, fallopian tube, uterus, sperm travel from the uterus into the fallopian tube, the sperm and go and penetrate the egg, the formation of fertilization. Development of embryo. Development of embryo takes place in female reproductive system through following steps. Every month a single egg comes out of the ovary and reaches the fallopian tube of female reproductive system. During copulation, sperms reach the fallopian tube where a sperm fertilizes the egg. This results in the formation of zygote. See the picture, zygote formation, uterus and embedding embryos and ovulation, the ovary, the zygote is formed. The zygote divides repeatedly to give rise to a ball of cells. The cells then being to form groups that develop into different tissues and organs of the body. This developing structure is termed as embryo. Balls of the cell enlarged. The embryo gets implanted in the wall of the uterus for further gradually develop the body parts such as hands, leg, head, and eye, ears, etc. The stages of the embryo in which all the body parts can be identified is called a fetus. When the development of fetus is completely, the mother gives birth to the baby. See the picture: fetus developing the uterus, fallopian tube, placenta, uterus, fetus, amniotic fluid, umbilical cord, and cervix, vagina. See the reproductive health. It is defined as a state of well-being in terms of safe sex, reproductive fitness, as well as absence of any reproductive disease. Unsafe sex lead to different diseases, which are now as sexual transmitted disease. Some of the sexual transmitted diseases are as follows. Gonorrhea is caused by bacteria. Syphilis is caused by bacteria. AIDS, acute immunodeficiency syndrome, is caused by virus. HIV, human immunodeficiency virus. IVF, in vitro fertilization. IVF is an infertility treatment method. In this case, egg is fertilized with sperm outside the female body. Womb is removed from the female body and is allowed to fertilize with the sperm outside the body in vitro condition. Birth control methods. For the country like India, where population is increased continuously, there is a need of birth control method. Condoms and diaphragms are barrier methods for birth control. They prevent the binding of sperm with ovum. Chemical method of birth control include oral pills and vaginal pills. Intrauterine contractive devices are also there to prevent the implantation of embryo into the uterus. For example, CT, copper T. Surgical methods include vasectomy in male and tubectomy in female. Vasectomy is done by cutting the vas deferens and then tie it up. Tubectomy involves cutting and tying of small portion of oviducts. See some of the precautions for birth control. The condom, female condom, pill, hormonal ring, UAT, injection, surgical sterilization, implant, coitus interrupts, calendar rhythm methods, patch, diaphragm.